The following is from the Moorhead City Council meeting on February 26, 2024. Councilmember White confronted Mayor Carlson about having a history of showing favoritism when appointing new members to boards and commissions, and the hurt it has caused marginalized communities who have little or no representation in Moorhead City government.
I'd like to begin by saying that it is with great reluctance that I bring forward my objections today. While I value the good working relationship we have as a council, my first obligation is to the people of Moorhead, and I hope that we can find space to respectfully disagree and then work together towards what's best for our community. I'm speaking today in part for people who have shared their concerns with me, but who are afraid that speaking out will result in them further being shut out from participating in our city government. And for those who have simply given up trying because, as one person wrote to me, quote, "They see the same people repeatedly in positional power and know that nothing substantial has been done that affects their everyday lives." The concerns I will raise should come as no surprise, as I have been asking for a year for we as a council to have a workshop to discuss how we appoint people to boards and commissions. I have also, in private conversations with the mayor for more than a year, raised concerns about her methods of selecting people in the past and in this instance. I have brought to her attention growing frustration felt by members of the Moorhead Human Rights Commission and within our community. I had hoped to resolve these concerns privately in conversations with the mayor before our agenda 2 weeks ago was made public, but since we weren't able to resolve these, I let her know well in advance that I felt obliged to raise my objections here. I also want to be clear that while my objections specifically pertain to one of the people that the mayor has recommended, it is in no way meant to disparage this person. I do not think that when the mayor asked her recently to apply for the commission so that she could appoint her, that she was aware of the circumstances that I will bring to you today. First, I want to point out 3 specific policies and actions that have come before the council. Number 1, in 2023, we as a city council developed strategic priorities which value inclusion and call on the mayor and the council to lead efforts to diversify public participation. Secondly, for the last 3 years, the Moorhead Human Rights Commission has approved resolutions asking the mayor and the council to review demographics about current board and commission members and to strive to include underrepresented voices so that those appointed better reflect the population of Moorhead. Thirdly, the Moorhead Human Rights Commission is the only one of our boards and commissions that is in our city policies and procedures specifically calls for the council and the mayor to strive for membership that is, quote, comprised of representation from significant minority populations within the community and, quote, including those who have been historically discriminated against. Among the pool of people who applied to serve on the Human Rights Commission and in some cases have been passed over before are people with disabilities, people of color, people from minoritized communities based on their gender identity and sexuality, and people from underrepresented age groups. I will note that while the median age in the city of Moorhead is 30 years old, the median age of our appointed board members of boards and commissions is 48, nearly 20 years older. In fact, we have more 60 and 70-year-old commissioners than 20 and 30-year-olds. In addition to their identifications with minoritized communities, the pool of applicants also included folks with extensive and stellar professional and personal experience advocating on human rights. One of the applicants is a former director of the Office of Diversity and Inclusion at a local university. She helped us plan Moorhead's first Indigenous Peoples Day and was recognized in 2023 by the Minnesota Black Collective Foundation, a statewide community foundation, for her work in leadership and civic engagement and commitment to fostering social equity and justice. Another applicant works for a statewide organization that advocates for human rights of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. She and her family are widely known in the community for their work to empower and support people with disabilities. Both are women of color, including one who is Hispanic, of which we currently have no representation on the commission. 2 of the applicants were recently recognized by the City of Moorhead with our Human Rights Awards for their outstanding work to advance human rights. Some of these people have been waiting for more than a year to be appointed, and some of these people regularly attend Human Rights Commission meetings and volunteer to help at our events. In fact, these volunteers have been of great help to the Commission. Over the last 2 years, there have been extended periods of time in which the 2 at-large seats have been vacant or absent, leaving the Commission shorthanded and its remaining members frustrated with our city leadership. These volunteers have been invaluable in helping us during these difficult times. Rather than selecting any of these people, the mayor chose to go outside of this pool of outstanding applicants to someone who had not applied, had no prior involvement, or even awareness of the work of the Human Rights Commission, and with less lived, professional, and personal experience than people who had already applied. I fully understand that we are not restricted to selecting only from those who have already applied. For instance, if the pool of applicants is very small and not well suited, or in order to advance our strategic priorities, I can understand going outside of the pool. However, to do so when the pool of applicants includes several from historically marginalized communities with extensive personal and professional experience advocating on human rights, and who have already demonstrated a strong interest in assisting in the work of the Moorhead Human Rights Commission, is very troubling, especially when the person who is picked over all of those others is someone with whom you have a personal connection. I have asked the mayor to consider how this is being received by folks from marginalized communities with whom we have been trying to build trust and show that their voice and presence matters. I think we can all imagine how hurtful it is to know that you've been passed over by someone who is less experienced. But it is particularly hurtful when you are part of a community that has been historically shut out from decision-making and leadership positions, and when the commission you are applying for is one that is meant to counter those historic inequities. Mayor, you have asked me, why does this matter? Why can't the people who have been passed over just serve as volunteers? It's because representation matters. We as a city do better when we have more voices at the table for decision-making. And for those who have been historically marginalized, having someone with whom they can identify serving in a leadership role helps to build trust and increases comfort in engaging in our city government. They're more likely to vote, to contact elected officials, to attend meetings, and to feel like their voice matters. Mayor, you of all people should understand the value of representation. When young women and girls see a woman serving as mayor, it expands what they see as possible for themselves. Mayor, I understand that based on your personal connection with this nominee, that you feel confident that she is open to learning and working with those from marginalized communities. And I do not question whether this is true. I instead question your method of selection. If someone's opportunity to be selected is based more on who they know than on their experience or on the council's strategic priorities or even the intentions laid out in the policies of the commission, then what are we to tell people who do not have the privilege of having personal connections with elected officials? What message does this send to them about who will and will not have a voice in our city's decision-making? How can we, in good faith, encourage folks to apply when we know that they are at a disadvantage in comparison to those with established connections to the elected officials? Mayor, I do not think that this is the message that you intended to send. I believe that you are well-intended when you selected your friend whom you hold in high regard. But as I have already brought to your attention privately, your actions have been hurtful and have led people to question whether our gestures to reach out to the underrepresented communities are merely empty words. I truly wish that you would have listened to those concerns and chosen a different path. But it is because of these reasons that I cannot in good conscience support this nomination.
If this kind of favoritism is not what you want in the Minnesota House of Representatives, vote now through August 11th in the primary. Minnesotans deserve better than Shelley Carlson.